Chris Brown, Matty Glad with you, and pleased to be joined by our good friend who you also see on Bills preseason telecasts with Steve Tasker and Andrew Catalon. Cynthia Frelund joining us from the NFL Network.
You let Tasker have the day off?
Tasker is spending a week on vacation.
Yeah.
So
this is a vacation. What's he doing?
he's visiting his baby granddaughter, his new baby granddaughter.
Okay.
So.
Well, I guess a baby. You got me with baby, but
Yeah, right?
Can't let
Come on,
Tasker.
Tasker.
Yeah, Tasker. Come on.
All right, so I'm not going to pretend to know all the different metrics that you're dicing up left, right, and center for the combine and stuff, but the receivers kind of dominating the conversation here for the Bills, knowing that there's a good chance Gabe Davis leaves via free agency, hole to fill. So separation for wide receivers, I seem to remember seeing metrics for you with receiver separation. Does that correlate positively to catch rate and yards after catch? Like, help me with that and spell it out, in terms of because we're trying to narrow down the kind of receiver that might best fit that number 2 role to improve catch rate and yards after catch.
But really, like if you're a fan and you want like a good sort of prototype. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. probably the best receiver in this class, but Rome Odunze out of Washington has that probably what I don't want to call Gabe what they want from Gabe, what they wanted from Gabe, right?
Yeah.
Like playoff Gabe.
We love playoff Gabe.
Exactly. And that's I guess what I'm saying is that when you're looking at someone's resume and body of work here at the combine, it's less about one specific thing, and speed of course is good, but the weird part about the way defenses are playing in college, like some guys play 3-3-5, have fun with that. That's a nightmare to figure out. Texas does that, just so you're curious who. What's better is take a snapshot at the moment the ball is released from the quarterback's hand and see who is open or running to open space.
Okay.
And that's the most predictive in terms of who can create. Like, I'm talking how a fan can do it. Like when you're watching at home.
Yeah.
And watch Rome. Because that guy, he can create separation, and he also is great with contested catches, which is another thing that, unfortunately, in the division you're in, that's going to be a problem. You need to have some contested catches.
Right.
Fortunately, right? But,
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a hard division.
No, I get it.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's not getting easier.
Yeah, it's only going to get harder, that's for sure. You released an article about analytical fits for team. Is there an analytical fit for Buffalo, and why?
Well, I released that before we saw that the cap number went up $30 million. I estimated between $15 and $20 million. So that extra 10, that's going to change a lot of things, like who can be re-signed, for how much, what's the defense going to look like? Because if I were going to just we don't know what Brandon Beane's going to do in free agency, whatever. Like if I were to just drop in right now, knowing that Gabe Davis kind of tweeted a goodbye or whatever, posted, there are a number of good receivers that could. Unfortunately, the Bills, you're picking too low again, man.
28.
It's not great. I mean, it's just a low note. It's great because you have a great season, but
right.
It's kind of it's a little easier to pick when it's 6, 5.
No Rome Odunze for the Bills.
No, you're not going to get Rome Odunze, but it's figuring out that flavor and the right. Is there the right corner available? That could be interesting because I think that could be an area to bolster.
All right, so let's take that a step further, because round 1, you see a lot of NFL clubs gravitate towards the premium positions.
Yep.
Corner, quarterback, offensive tackle, pass rusher, wide receiver.
Yep.
Is there analytic support for drafting those premium positions? Because there's always exceptions, we know.
Right.
Dalton Kincaid last year was an exception
and
a good one. But
he's like a receiver. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that's true.
He's
but
not
does
the blocking tight end.
Do the analytics support taking those premium positions high?
They do, but high to me is 16, 15, not 28's not really high anymore. I mean,
okay.
It's the difference between if you had, and you're not in this position, but in this draft class there are a number of good tight ends. If you were able to get Brock Bowers, whatever, not the Bills shouldn't do this, but just saying as the way that the tight end position and the value of the tight end position, especially in recent years, if you're a pass catching tight end, that could be valuable enough. So it's really more what do I need, and what do other people think I need? Because trading down and getting equity, an extra 4th round pick or something, that's a really good plan. But at 28, it's kind of well,
you're practically in the 2nd round anyway.
And also you're just not going to get the coveted, trade for You're not in a spot where someone's gonna be like, hey, I gotta come up and get a quarterback. Like, unless something weird happens, I guess you could whatever. But like you're not gonna like some team
Right.
in the second round is like, oh, I'll come up and give you whatever. I don't know. But to me, it's you're probably gonna pick best available there for what you need.
Well, let's talk about that 28th overall pick that the Bills have in the first round. They're looking for players, and Brandon Beane has said this, they're looking for players who can play now because of their cap situation. Yes, the number is higher than expected, but the Bills have a lot of work to do to become cap compliant. So if you're drafting at number 28, you're going to want somebody who can play right away. We saw Dalton Kincaid play right away, as well as Osiris Torrance, and it worked out really well for those two players. Who are you looking at number 28 that could be available for the Bills that could be a plug-and-play player?
My Toledo cornerback won't be available.
Yeah, Quinion.
Yeah, Quinion,
he's going to be gone.
He's going to be gone.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Like, a month ago, I would have said that would have been a great pick. But now.
Yeah. Lit up the Senior Bowl. And,
I know.
Yeah.
But good
and
for
it's
him.
going to test well. And yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of what I was looking at before. I do think that it depends on how some of these wide receivers look and where it goes. Like, there could be some weird runs on things. Perhaps you go with another corner, but pass rusher, those are the two that I'm sort of looking at immediately. I will have to see how it shakes out, though, in free agency, though, because that's going to be the key.
Right. And
unfortunately, they'll have to show their hands.
Right.
And safety is not a premium position. It's not a great class this year. But
I was about to say more that it's not. Yeah.
There's going to be turnover on the Bills roster at that
Has to be.
position. So with that in mind, I think we're all anticipating Brandon's going to address that to some extent in free agency to try to fill some of the voids there. But how do you approach a position group like that when it's not a premium position and the class isn't good? Like, you got to look to your back end value.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, do non-premium positions present ultimate value in a certain area, or is it just strictly round 5, 6, 7? Like, what are we talking about?
The fact that, like, see, you frame it really perfectly, right? That, like, we have this perception that that you can't be drafting a safety too early or a running back or whatever. Like, but the fact is maybe I could trade off of your assumptions. So that's where I think Brandon could be really smart about this and say, well, I know that there's this, I don't know, quarterback that another team wants to come up and get in 28 because then they get the extra year of the rookie pay scale.
Cost control.
Right, and I can still get my safety that I wanted, or I can still get my linebacker that I wanted in the middle of the second round, and now I've added a third-round pick too, where I think I can get another safety because I don't know I loved when they did the strategy of, drafting the same position multiple times. That was a couple years ago. I thought that
like that.
I did.
Okay. Because I think a lot of people would be happy if the Bills have 2 receivers in their bag by the end of day 2 in their first 3 picks.
If it's the right ones. Yeah, like, I mean, there is a lot of nuance there.
Yes.
like
different flavors.
Different flavors. Who's available? What's going to keep everyone happy? Those things matter.
Cynthia, I've got one more for you.
Yeah.
Testing is starting. The drills are starting. You're an analytical person, so what is something that you're eager to see out of these players this weekend? Is there anything that you're waiting to see, whether it's drills on the field, whether it's how guys measure, things like that?
I think that because we all need, like, the quarterbacks will shape this in every draft, right? There's so many quarterback needy teams this year, or teams that are potentially quarterback needy. We're not really sure how it's going to net out with free agency and all these. Like, what will the Patriots do? They have such an interesting. They're picking third. Mm-hmm. Are they going to get a free agent quarterback and then trade down and take, like, because other teams will come? Like, so
their offense is a mess. They might do that.
I think they're actually probably better served with a veteran this year, and then but like they've got a lot of holes. It's not a Yeah,
you almost set up the quarterback to fail because there's nothing around him.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm looking at that, and that could shape the entire draft so differently. If there's some massive run on quarterbacks 1 through 10, then the Bills are getting a way different player.
Yeah,
than they
a much better one, in all likelihood.
Exactly. And it's like, well, what would the Raiders do? They need a quarterback. They're not picking in the top 5.
No, they're 13.
Exactly. So there's tons of ways that this could all shake out. So to me, getting these quarterbacks, the thing about the quarterbacks that's so hard on all of it is everybody thinks they're a quarterback expert, and nobody is. You need to find the quarterback that fits your system, what you want to do, that you have a vision for, that can execute what you and put the right people in place to help that guy succeed. So I'm very curious how these quarterbacks will interview. I don't even care about what they like. I've already seen their tape. We're
Just
good.
interview, because
Well,
a few of them
but
aren't going to even test.
I don't know. Have you seen that guy from Notre Dame's hair though? Yo, he's got some lettuce. That kid. He's got he's a very
Hartman.
yeah.
Yeah, you've seen the slow motion gifs. Have you
Oh,
seen
it's
that
so
on
good.
social?
It's so. But
Yeah.
I saw it in person.
Even
yesterday.
my wife is like, okay, he's a
That guy's-
good looking man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it's wild though because I mean, how are these guys interviewing? Like I've heard that Jaden Daniels is interviewing better than anyone else, but is that great interview enough for the perception to be like, well, Caleb Williams isn't one anymore?
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
as good as the guy.
this is a good problem for the Bills because
We don't
sort
need that guy.
out so that
Let
you
it
can,
all happen.
No, you should want all of these quarterbacks to go like 1 through 13, right?
Yeah.
Like they should go 6 and 13 or 5, like so then the
Yeah.
Bills get a way better player. Like this is I'm making this strategy for the Bills.
I like it.
I'll call Brandon.
Oh no, we like that because they don't need an offensive tackle either, and about 5 or 6 of
Exactly.
them are going to go two in front of them. So
That's
you're
exactly
hoping
right.
it pushes
and
that
if
talent
there's a
down.
run on the offense, like the offensive linemen. So like I did my master's thesis on these people. Are they waist spenders? Are they not? Et cetera. So this is a really good deep class for offensive linemen.
Okay.
But it's also it's good, but it's also like flavors. Do you want this flavor or do you want that flavor? There's not one guy that's like Joe Thomas. There's a few that are really good,
Yeah.
but there's not one that's like Joe could do anything.
Right. I get it. Cynthia, appreciate the time as always. And
By
look,
the way,
if-
Dion killed it with his saying he didn't like the Jets. That was so funny.
yeah, I don't know if it was as well received. Well, yeah, we'll see.
We don't
see
like
what.
bulletin board material.
Yeah, we don't like bulletin board material, and it was.
It's not bulletin
So-
board material.
Well,
Do
it
you-
is.
what do you think?
We'll
I
find
love
out.
them.
We'll find
I
out when
love
they play
them.
the Jets in the fall.
They're my best friends. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. We love those guys. They're great.
Love Dion. I love Dion.
Cynthia, thanks for the time as
Yeah.
always. We
I'll
know
see
you're
you- I'll
busy.
see you in August.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we've got more coming up, but we'll see you in the summer.
Great.